The message came on a Tuesday. Dr. John Carter was finishing his coffee when the computer alarm started blaring across the lab. He rushed to his station, nearly colliding with Lisa Morgan, who was already typing commands into her terminal. "Are we getting this?" John asked, his voice tight with excitement. Lisa nodded, her eyes never leaving the screen. "It's like nothing I've ever seen. The pattern is too regular, too perfect." The Deep Space Listening Array in New Mexico had picked up strange signals before, usually radio bursts from distant stars or echoes of human transmissions bouncing back from space debris. But this was different. The signal pulsed with mathematical precision. It repeated exactly every 42.7 seconds. "Get the director," John said, already reaching for the secure phone line. Within hours, the facility was swarming with government officials. Within days, similar signals were confirmed by listening stations in China, Russia, and South Africa. There was no denying it anymore. Earth was receiving a message from the stars. For 3 months, the best minds on the planet worked to decode the transmission. Lisa led the communications team, working 18-hour days fueled by determination and black coffee. The breakthrough came when she realized the signal contained embedded images, thousands of them, forming what appeared to be a visual language primer. "They're teaching us how to understand them," she explained to a room full of officials, like a cosmic Rosetta Stone. The world held its breath as the message gradually became clear. News networks ran constant updates. Religious leaders called for calm. Military forces around the globe went on high alert. Finally, on a rainy morning in April 2047, John and Lisa stood behind the president as she addressed the world. "Today we can confirm that humanity has received communication from an extraterrestrial intelligence," the president said, her voice steady despite the historical weight of her words. "They call themselves the Galactic Council of Sentient Species, a federation of 132 civilizations from across our galaxy." The president paused, allowing the information to sink in. "They have been observing Earth for decades and have deemed us ready for first contact. They have invited Earth to send representatives to discuss our potential membership in their council." The room erupted into questions, but John wasn't listening anymore. His mind was racing with possibilities: alien technology, interstellar travel, knowledge beyond human imagination. In the weeks that followed, the United Nations convened emergency sessions. Some nations pushed for immediate acceptance of the invitation. Others urged caution. Conspiracy theories flourished online. Religious communities debated the theological implications. Stock markets fluctuated wildly. 3 months after the initial message, the decision was made. Earth would send a delegation of 5 representatives, a carefully selected team of scientists, diplomats, and military personnel. "Dr. Carter," the Secretary General said during a private meeting, "your work in decoding the message has been invaluable. We want you on this team." John looked at Lisa, who nodded encouragingly. "What about Dr. Morgan?" he asked. "She's the one who cracked their visual language." The Secretary General smiled. "We need her here. If anything goes wrong, she's our best hope for maintaining communication." 2 days later, the world watched as a small alien craft, elegant and silver, descended through Earth's atmosphere. It landed smoothly on a specially prepared airfield in neutral Switzerland. No aliens emerged, just a message explaining that the shuttle was automated and would transport the human delegates to the council's meeting place. As John packed his few allowed personal items, Lisa handed him a small flash drive. "A translation matrix I've been working on," she said. "It might help if they throw any linguistic curveballs at you out there." John took it, suddenly aware of the enormity of what lay ahead. "When you meet them," Lisa said quietly, "remember you're speaking for all of us." John nodded, his throat tight. Tomorrow, he would board an alien ship and leave Earth behind. Humanity's first steps into a larger universe had begun, and he still wasn't sure if they were walking into an opportunity or a trap. The alien shuttle hummed softly as it carried the 5 humans away from Earth. Dr. John Carter watched through a clear viewing panel as his home planet shrank to a blue marble, then to a tiny dot, and finally disappeared altogether. He felt a knot in his stomach. "Quite a view," said Samantha Miller, sitting beside him. As Earth's top diplomat, she had negotiated peace treaties in war zones and handled delicate international crises, but nothing had prepared her for representing humanity to aliens. "I keep thinking about what Lisa said before we left," John replied, "about speaking for all of us." Colonel Frank Peterson, who had been silently observing the ship's interior, joined their conversation. "That's why we're here. 5 people carrying the hopes of 8 billion. The other 2 members of the delegation, Dr. Kate Young and Dr. Eric Daniels, were busy studying the ship's strange walls, which seemed to shift colors in response to their touch. The shuttle had no visible crew. A smooth voice that sounded almost human had welcomed them aboard and explained that the journey would take 3 weeks. Their quarters were comfortable but small, with strange beds that adjusted to their bodies and food dispensers that created meals based on their thoughts. On the 4th day, they received their first visitor. A door appeared in what had been a solid wall, and a tall, slender being stepped through. It had silvery skin that reflected light like polished metal and 4 long arms. Its head was narrow with large, dark eyes. "I am Zintor of the Veldari," it said in perfect English. "I will be your guide to the council." The humans tried to hide their surprise. Despite months of preparation, seeing an actual alien left them speechless. Dr. Eric Daniels, the linguist, was the first to recover. "Thank you for coming, Zintor. We have many questions." The alien bowed slightly. "That is why I am here." Over the next few days, Zintor taught them about the Galactic Council. It had existed for over 12,000 Earth years. The oldest members, races called the Eldar and the Myth-Ari, had founded it as a way to bring order to the galaxy. Most species take centuries to develop full space travel, Zintor explained one evening as they shared a meal. The alien ate small glowing crystals that dissolved in a cup of clear liquid. The Council offers membership to promising species to guide their development. "Guide how?" Colonel Peterson asked, his eyes narrowing slightly. "The universe is dangerous," Zintor replied. "Many young species destroy themselves or attract unwanted attention. The Council provides protection and knowledge." "In exchange for what?" Samantha asked. Zintor's skin rippled, and what they had learned was a smile. "Cooperation, resources, harmony with the greater community." As the days passed, John noticed something odd about their guide's answers. Whenever they asked about specific terms of council membership or how exactly Earth would benefit, Zintor would speak at length without giving clear information. "I don't trust this setup," Colonel Peterson whispered to John during their 2nd week of travel. "They're hiding something." "Maybe," John agreed. "Or maybe we're just too paranoid." But as they entered the 3rd week of their journey, even Dr. Kate Young, usually the most optimistic of the group, began to have doubts. "Have you noticed that Zintor never mentions any species that refused council membership?" she asked during their private evening meeting. "What happens to civilizations that say no?" Their questions remained unanswered as the shuttle finally slowed. Through the viewing panel, they saw their destination. A massive ring-shaped structure orbiting a distant star. Lights glittered across its surface like countless tiny stars. "Harmonium Station," Zintor announced proudly, "home of the Galactic Council." The humans stood together, watching as the shuttle approached the enormous structure. The moment they had traveled so far for was finally here. They would be the first humans to meet the galaxy's ruling body. "Whatever happens," Samantha said quietly, "we stay together. We represent Earth as one." The others nodded as the shuttle docked with a gentle bump. When the door slid open, bright light flooded in. The journey to the stars was over. The real test was about to begin. The council chamber was unlike anything the humans had ever seen. The ceiling arched so high that it disappeared into shadows. The walls curved in a perfect circle, made of some shimmering material that changed colors like oil on water. In the center stood a raised platform surrounded by tiered seating that could hold hundreds. Zintor led the 5 humans down a long walkway. Aliens of all shapes and sizes watched them pass. Some looked almost human with 2 arms and legs. Others were completely foreign. Floating clouds of gas, crystalline structures that moved by rearranging their parts, and beings that seemed to shift in and out of solid form. "Everyone's staring at us," Dr. Kate Young whispered. "We are the newcomers," Samantha Miller replied calmly, though her heart was racing. "Stay confident." Colonel Peterson walked with his back straight, scanning for potential threats. Dr. John Carter and Dr. Eric Daniels struggled to maintain their composure while surrounded by so many alien species. Zintor stopped at a small seating area near the central platform. "These are your assigned places. The formal session will begin soon. Until then, you may speak with other delegates." As soon as their guide left, several aliens approached. A short, stocky being with thick gray skin and small eyes extended 4 tentacles toward them. "I am Delegate Vor of the Tyranny," it said in a rumbling voice. "You are the humans, yes? First contact is always exciting." "Thank you," Samantha said, bowing slightly. "We are honored to be here." Another creature, tall and insect-like, with compound eyes, clicked its mandibles. "Such primitive physiology. How did you manage space travel with such limited appendages?" John felt his face grow hot, but Samantha smoothly replied, "We find our form quite efficient for our needs." Throughout the next hour, the pattern continued. Some aliens were polite and curious. Others were openly dismissive. "I heard they only recently split the atom," one floating jellyfish-like creature said loudly to its companion. "Barely space capable. They'll be useful for the mineral extraction on their moon at least," another replied. Colonel Peterson moved closer to John. "Did you hear that? They're already planning to use us." "We don't know that," John said, but doubt crept into his mind. A gentle chime sounded, and the alien delegates began taking their seats. The human team sat together, feeling small in the massive chamber. A group of tall, elegant aliens with skin like polished bronze entered and took positions on the central platform. Their movements were graceful, almost rehearsed. "The Eldar," Eric whispered, one of the founding species Zintor mentioned. The tallest Eldar raised 2 of its 4 arms, and the chamber fell silent. "The council is now in session," it announced in a melodic voice that somehow carried to every corner of the room. "Today we welcome observers from Sol 3, the planet called Earth." The Eldar gestured toward the humans, and a spotlight illuminated their seating area. Thousands of alien eyes turned to stare at them. "The evaluation of Earth for potential membership will proceed over the next 3 cycles. Delegates may question the humans during designated periods. Their technology, biology, and societal structures will be examined." John felt like a specimen under a microscope. This wasn't the meeting of equals they had hoped for. It was more like a job interview or an auction. Later, in their private quarters, the human team compared notes. "They see us as children," Kate said, "or pets." "Worse," Frank added. "I think they see us as resources." Samantha paced the room. "We need more information before we jump to conclusions. Let's use tomorrow to learn what we can about how the council really works." Eric nodded. "I'll try to access their information systems. See what I can find about other new species." John looked out the window at the stars. One of them was the sun, too distant to see. He wondered what Lisa and everyone back on Earth would think of this strange place where humans were treated like curiosities at best and commodities at worst. "Whatever they're planning," he said, "I don't think it's what we were told." None of them knew that the next day would bring revelations far more disturbing than they imagined. The second day passed in a blur of meetings and tours. The human delegation was shown laboratories with technology centuries beyond Earth's capabilities. They saw medical facilities where injuries healed in minutes and food production systems that could feed millions without farms. John was impressed, but noticed how the Velderi guides never explained how anything worked. They were shown wonders but given no real knowledge. On the third day, all 5 humans were summoned to the council chamber again. This time, the room was packed with aliens of every description. The atmosphere felt tense. "Something's happening," Colonel Peterson whispered as they took their seats. "This isn't just another introduction." Samantha nodded. "Stay alert. Watch for reactions from the other delegates." The Eldar High Speaker rose, and the chamber went silent. It was taller than the others of its kind, with skin that had a golden shine and eyes that seemed ancient. "Delegates of the Galactic Council," it began, its voice filling the chamber without seeming to raise it, "we have completed our preliminary assessment of the species known as humans." John felt his heart rate increase. This was happening faster than they expected. Humans have shown rapid technological advancement. In merely 1 century, they progressed from basic flight to rudimentary space travel. This rate exceeds normal parameters. Murmurs spread through the alien crowd. John couldn't tell if they were impressed or concerned. Additionally, the High Speaker continued, "Our historical studies of Earth reveal patterns of aggressive territorial expansion and resource competition. Their planet bears scars of weapons that, while primitive by our standards, demonstrate destructive intent." "That's not fair," Kate whispered angrily. "They're judging our entire history without context." The High Speaker raised its 4 arms, and projections appeared in the air above the platform. Images of Earth's wars, environmental damage, and nuclear tests floated for all to see. "The Council has reached a decision regarding humanity's status," the High Speaker announced. "Earth is classified as a potentially dangerous emerging species." Colonel Peterson's hand tightened on his armrest. "Here it comes," he muttered. "We present 2 paths forward," the High Speaker said. "First, Earth may join the Galactic Council as a protected species. This would require humans to cease all independent military development and space exploration. In return, the Council will provide guided advancement under our supervision." The High Speaker paused, its eyes scanning the human delegation. "The second option is containment. If humans choose to reject Council protection, we will implement isolation protocols. Earth will be quarantined from all galactic contact for a minimum of 1,000 years. Gasps and shocked whispers erupted from the humans. Samantha stood up. "High Speaker, may I ask for clarification?" Her voice was steady despite her anger. "You're offering us membership only if we give up our independence, and if we refuse, we'll be cut off from the galaxy." The High Speaker's expression didn't change. "That is correct. This decision is for your protection and the safety of the galaxy. Your species advances too quickly without proper guidance." "This isn't an invitation," John said quietly to his teammates. "It's an ultimatum. Earth's delegation will have 1 standard rotation to confer and provide a response," the High Speaker announced. "You are dismissed to consider your options." Back in their quarters, the humans couldn't contain their outrage. "They want to turn us into a client state," Colonel Peterson said, pacing the room, "or lock us away if we refuse." "There has to be more to this," Eric said. "Let's access their public archives. Kate and I can look for information about these protected species and what really happens to them." Samantha nodded. "Do it. John, help them. Frank, you and I need to figure out how to contact Earth. They need to know what we're facing." As they split up to their tasks, John couldn't help thinking about the High Speaker's words. Potentially dangerous. Perhaps humanity was more dangerous than even the Council realized, especially when backed into a corner. Kate and Eric worked quickly at the information terminal in their quarters. The Council had provided access to what they called public archives, a vast database of galactic history and knowledge. While the interface was alien, Lisa's translation matrix helped them navigate it. "Look for anything about protected species," Kate said, "or planets that refused Council terms." Eric nodded, his fingers moving across the strange controls. "I'm in. Let's see what we can find." Meanwhile, Colonel Peterson had pulled John aside. "I need to show you something," he said in a low voice. He reached into a hidden pocket in his uniform and pulled out a small device no bigger than a coin. "Quantum communicator. Works across any distance instantly. Top secret." John's eyes widened. "You brought that? How did it get past their scanners?" "It didn't register as technology to them. Different principles." Peterson pressed a small button on the device. "It's linked directly to the Joint Chiefs back home. If we need to, we can warn Earth." Across the room, Samantha was reviewing their diplomatic options, making notes on what leverage they might have. The situation seemed impossible. Either surrender Earth's freedom or face isolation. "Got something?" Eric called out suddenly. The others gathered around the terminal. On the screen were records of a planet called Nivos, admitted as a protected species 300 years ago. Images showed a beautiful blue-green world with vast oceans. "Look at the resource extraction reports," Kate said, pointing to figures scrolling past. "Massive mining operations, atmospheric alterations, population relocation." "Relocation?" John asked. Eric pulled up more data. The Nivosians were moved to work colonies on moons and asteroids. Their planet was strip-mined, Colonel Peterson finished grimly. "They turned the whole damn planet into a resource pit." Samantha's face paled. "And this was a species that accepted protection." Kate typed rapidly, accessing more files. "It's not just Nivos. There's Tralax, Eridu, City Prime. At least 20 worlds listed as under Council protection that have been similarly exploited." "What about planets that said no?" John asked. Eric's search revealed disturbing answers. Most species that refused Council terms suffered mysterious disasters within decades. Asteroid impacts, plague outbreaks, civil wars that seemed to start overnight. "They call it natural correction," Eric read from the screen. "But these reports show Veldari ships in orbit before each event. They engineer the disasters," John said. "Make it look natural." "There's worse," Kate said quietly. "Some planets got what they call sterilization protocols. Complete destruction of all intelligent life while preserving natural resources." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. This wasn't just an unfair deal. It was an existential threat to humanity either way. "We need to contact Earth right now," Colonel Peterson said, moving toward his hidden communicator. Before he could activate it, John grabbed his arm. "Wait. I've been thinking about something." Everyone turned to him. "Their defense systems," John said. "During the tour yesterday, I noticed their screens and barriers. They're all designed to stop energy weapons, lasers, plasma, that kind of thing." "So?" Samantha asked. "Earth doesn't have energy weapons," John explained. "We use kinetic weapons, missiles, bullets, physical objects that hit targets." Colonel Peterson's eyes lit up with understanding. "They might not be prepared for that. Their barriers could be useless against our kind of attack." "Exactly," John said. "And if we could somehow get a message to Earth with the station's coordinates." Samantha shook her head. "What are you suggesting? That we threaten the entire Council? With what? Earth's missiles can't reach us here." "Maybe they can," Eric said slowly. "If they knew exactly where to aim and used the same fold space technology the shuttle used to bring us here." Colonel Peterson smiled for the first time since their arrival. "We might have leverage after all." As they began to form a plan, a chime sounded at their door. Zentor's voice came through. "Human delegates, you have 12 Earth hours remaining to prepare your response." The clock was ticking. They needed to act fast to save Earth from either slavery or isolation. And their plan was dangerous. Perhaps the most dangerous gamble in human history. Colonel Peterson held the small quantum communicator in his palm. The 5 humans huddled around it in their quarters, speaking in whispers despite sweeping the room for listening devices. "This has to work," Samantha said. "If they detect the transmission." "They won't," Peterson assured her. "Different technology, different principles. Like trying to see radio waves with your eyes. John nodded. What exactly are we telling Earth? Everything, Peterson said grimly. The ultimatum. The fate of other planets. And our plan. He activated the device. A small hologram appeared showing a group of military and government officials sitting around a table on Earth. Their faces showed shock as Peterson quickly explained the situation. We need immediate action, Peterson told them. Full nuclear readiness, and we're sending coordinates for the fold space jump. The Secretary of Defense on the other end looked skeptical. Colonel, you're asking us to prepare for an attack on an alien station without authorization from the President. Connect me to the President then, Peterson said, his voice firm. Because in 24 hours, Earth faces either slavery or isolation. There is no third option unless we make one. While Peterson continued the tense conversation, John pulled Eric aside. I need you to help me with something. When we toured the docking bay yesterday, I noticed their ships use a standard navigation system. If we could access it. Eric's eyes widened. We could get the exact fold space coordinates for Earth, and for this station. Exactly, John said. Can you do it? Eric nodded. I think so. Their computer interfaces are strange but follow logical patterns. Give me an hour. Kate joined them. I've been studying the station schematics from the public database. It has 16 main power nodes. If targeted precisely, the entire station would lose shields. Good work, John said. Samantha needs to prepare our official response too, something that buys us time if needed. Across the room, Peterson was finishing his conversation with Earth. The President's face now filled the hologram. This is unprecedented, the President said, but we trust your judgment. The missiles will be prepared with the coordinates you provide. But Colonel, this is a last resort only. Try diplomacy first. Understood, Madam President, Peterson replied. But be ready if my next message contains the code word Thermopylae. That means launch immediately. The transmission ended. Peterson looked at his team. Earth will back us up. Now we need those coordinates. For the next several hours, they worked feverishly. Eric slipped away to the docking bay under the pretense of scientific curiosity and successfully accessed the navigation system. Kate refined their understanding of the station's weaknesses. Samantha prepared their diplomatic response, carefully worded to conceal their true intentions. As the deadline approached, they gathered one last time in their quarters. Is everyone clear on the plan? Peterson asked. They nodded solemnly. Samantha will deliver our response, Peterson continued. If they accept our terms, true partnership, not submission, then crisis averted. If they refuse or threaten us, I send the code word. And Earth launches everything we have, John finished, targeted precisely at this station's coordinates. The Council thinks we're primitive, Kate said, but they don't understand human determination. Or nuclear physics, Eric added with a grim smile. Samantha looked at each of them. This is an enormous gamble. We're risking not just our lives, but potentially starting an interstellar war. They started it, Peterson said flatly, with their ultimatum. A final chime sounded at their door. Zintor's voice came through. Human delegates, the Council awaits your response. Please follow me. The 5 humans exchanged one last look. Their plan was in motion. Earth's fate would be decided in the next hour, and perhaps the fate of the entire Galactic Council as well. Let's go, Samantha said, straightening her jacket. Time to show the galaxy who they're really dealing with. The council chamber was filled to capacity. Representatives from all 132 species had gathered to hear Earth's response. The massive room hummed with whispered conversations in hundreds of languages. The human delegation walked in together, their faces calm despite the weight of their decision. Colonel Peterson kept one hand in his pocket, fingers touching the quantum communicator. John and Kate flanked Samantha, while Eric stayed slightly behind, ready to run if needed. The high speaker raised its 4 arms, and silence fell across the chamber. The delegates from Earth will now deliver their response to the Council's offer, it announced. Step forward, humans. Samantha walked to the center of the chamber alone. She stood tall, her eyes meeting the High Speaker's gaze without fear. High Speaker, honorable members of the Galactic Council, she began, her voice clear and strong. We have carefully considered your terms. The aliens leaned forward in anticipation. Most expected a lengthy explanation, perhaps pleas for better terms, or reluctant acceptance. Samantha took a deep breath. Then she said just one word. No. The chamber erupted. Delegates shouted in confusion and anger. Some stood, gesturing wildly with their various appendages. Others turned to their neighbors, demanding explanations. The High Speaker's golden skin darkened with emotion. Silence, it commanded, and the room gradually quieted. It looked down at Samantha. Perhaps you misunderstood our offer. This is not a negotiation. You must choose protection or isolation. Samantha smiled slightly. We understand perfectly. And our answer is no. No to both options. This is unprecedented. A Veldari delegate shouted. They cannot simply refuse. But we can, Samantha replied. And we have a counteroffer. The High Speaker's eyes narrowed. You are in no position to make offers, human. Actually, John said, stepping forward to join Samantha, you might want to check your long-range sensors. Confusion spread across the chamber. The High Speaker nodded to a technician, who quickly consulted a display. Its expression changed from annoyance to shock. High Speaker, it said urgently, thousands of small objects have appeared in space around the station. They appeared from nowhere. They're weapons of some kind. Colonel Peterson had sent the signal. Earth had launched its entire nuclear arsenal through Fold space, targeting Harmonium Station. What is the meaning of this? The High Speaker demanded, real fear in its voice for the first time. Those are nuclear missiles, Colonel Peterson explained, joining his colleagues. Primitive by your standards, I'm sure, but there are over 12,000 of them, and they're all aimed at this station. This is impossible, a Mythari delegate protested. Your species doesn't have Fold space technology. We didn't, Kate said, but we learned quickly. We reversed the principles from your shuttle. Eric stepped forward with a datapad. Our analysis shows your defensive shields are designed to stop energy weapons. These are kinetic weapons with nuclear payloads. Your shields can't stop them. The chamber fell silent as the truth sank in. The supposedly primitive humans had outmaneuvered the entire council. Here is our counteroffer, Samantha said into the silence. Earth will join the Galactic Council, but as an equal partner. No restrictions on our development. No resource exploitation. And we want the same terms extended to all protected species. She paused, letting her words sink in. Or we can all die here today. Your choice. The High Speaker seemed to age before their eyes. You would destroy yourselves just to defy us. If necessary, Samantha replied. Humans value freedom above all else. We will not be slaves or prisoners. The council erupted into panicked discussions. The humans stood calmly in the center, waiting. Finally, the High Speaker raised a hand for quiet. In all our thousands of years, it said slowly, no species has ever done this. Your audacity is unexpected. It looked at the other council leaders, who nodded reluctantly. We will negotiate new terms, the High Speaker announced. As equals. As word spread through the chamber, many delegates looked at the humans with new respect, others with fear. The galaxy's balance of power had shifted in a single moment. With one word, no, humanity had changed everything.